Morning everyone, I'm Lieutenant Tom Wester, the navigator on board USS Howard. I'd like to be the first one to welcome you to our ship. I'll be your tour guide for this afternoon. As you walk around the ship, you'll notice that all of our sailors are wearing face masks. That's in accordance with the latest Navy as well as Center for Disease Control guidance to prevent the spread of COVID-19. We'd like to welcome you on board, and I'm excited to tell you about our ship and its amazing crew. USS Howard was commissioned on October 20th, 2001. We are a guided missile destroyer, a Flight 2 Alpha guided missile destroyer, currently homeported in San Diego, California. Our ship is over 509 feet long, displaces around 9,500 tons, and is home to the 330 best sailors in the United States Navy. We're really excited to show you aboard today. Let's go. Our first stop today is the flight deck. Howard has a fully functional flight deck capable of landing a variety of aircraft in support of flight operations on board. It's, for all intents and purposes, our airport here. We also have two helicopter hangars, one on the port side, that's the left side, and one on the starboard side, that's the right side, capable of supporting two MH-60 Romeo helicopters so that we can conduct flight operations whenever and wherever we need to. As I mentioned, it's a fully functional airport, so we do in fact have air traffic control centers where we have qualified experts who are handling the aircraft for both takeoff and landing. Our second stop today is a P-way, or what we call a passageway or a hallway. As you can see, we make great use of all the space on board Howard, and every single item that's stored on the ship has a proper location so that we know where to use it in the event of an emergency. As you can see, we have fire hoses installed throughout the ship to help us combat fires, as well as oxygen tanks, and should we need to use oxygen to combat that fire. Every single sailor on board USS Howard is a trained firefighter so that we can combat any sort of incident or casualty that we might have on board. Our next stop is going to be Main Medical. This is Main Medical. This is where our expert team of corpsmen treat everything from common colds to battlefield injuries. They're also in charge of keeping us up to date on all of our shots, as well as ensuring that we're complying with the latest COVID-19 guidance. In addition, they train all the sailors on the ship in basic medical care to include CPR. Our next stop is going to be the mess line. This is the mess line. This is where we feed all 330 sailors on board Howard 3 meals a day, 365 days a year. Over the course of an average week, we go through approximately 212 dozen eggs, 180 gallons of milk, and over 8,200 pounds of meat. Our expert team of culinary specialists cook amazing meals day in and day out. Our next stop is going to be Combat Information Center. This is Combat Information Center. This is the heart of the ship. You're currently inside the most advanced warship in the entire world. Here on USS Howard, we're capable of multi-domain warfare operations. Everything from anti-submarine operations in the deepest parts of the ocean, all the way to ballistic missile defense into the far reaches of space. In here, we have an expert team of watchstanders that operates all of our sensors and equipment, from our hull-mounted sonar to our Aegis spy radar. Our next stop is going to be Officer Country. Welcome to the wardroom. This is where us as officers eat, hold meetings, socialize, and study off hours. The wardroom, like the rest of the Navy, is a place that's steeped in histories and traditions. One of those harkens all the way back to the age of sail that we carry forward to today. When we're in the wardroom, we don't wear covers. That's what we call hats. The reason for this is that back in the age of sail, where the wardroom was used as a backup surgical unit, and wearing a hat could be seen as unsanitary. We carry this tradition forward to today to remind us of our roots. Additionally, each wardroom in the Navy is a little bit different. Ours honors our namesake, First Sergeant Jimmy Howard. First Sergeant Howard was a 1st Recon Division Marine who led his platoon of 18 Marines during the Battle of Hill 488, which took place on the night of June 15th to the day of June 16th of 1966. Ultimately, during the battle, him and his Marines fought an entire battalion of Viet Cong soldiers, and 6 were ultimately killed in the battle. Every single Marine that day was wounded, but for his actions, First Sergeant Howard was awarded the Medal of Honor by President Lyndon Johnson. One of my favorite items on the entire ship is this map that depicts the location of the Battle of Hill 488. This is my favorite spot on the entire ship, the bridge or the pilot house. This is where we actually drive the ship from. When we're underway, we have a helmsman who uses a steering wheel to control where the ship's going. It's kind of like driving a car, with the only exception that we have over 100,000 horsepower. That's able to push the ship through the water in excess of 30 knots. We also have other watch stations up here, like the conning officer, who's actually giving orders to the helm, the junior officer of the deck, who manages all of our communications off ship, as well as our radar picture, and then the officer of the deck, who's in charge of the safety of navigation of the ship. Our next stop is going to be the forecastle. This is the forecastle. This is at the very bow of the ship, or the very front of the ship. First thing you'll notice is probably our large gun. That's a 5-inch gun. The 5-inch rounds, the ammunition that it fires, come up to about here. They're huge. Additionally, they can be shot well over the horizon at anything we need to. Another thing on the forecastle are our vertical launch system cells, or our VLS cells. Right up here we have 32 forward, and then we have another 64 back aft. These cells hold missiles that are almost 3 stories tall and capable of going hundreds of miles. The other thing that's up here on the forecastle are our anchors. We have 2 anchors which allow us to go anywhere in the world without the need for infrastructure. Our next stop is going to be the Medal of Honor P-Way. This is another place where we honor our namesake, First Sergeant Jimmy Howard. First Sergeant Howard died after 27 years of service in the United States Marine Corps. As a San Diego native, he came back home and is currently laid to rest at Fort Rosecrans Cemetery out on Point Loma. Anytime the ship enters or exits port, we actually render honors on our way out or our way in to First Sergeant Howard. Additionally, this P-Way contains awards and accolades that the ship has received since its commissioning, as well as several photographs of his receiving the Medal of Honor from President Johnson. This is the boat deck. This is where we load, lower, launch, and recover one of our 2 rigid hull inflatable boats. That's this small boat right here. Our boats are capable of being deployed even while we're underway so that we can operate wherever and whenever needed. Our 2 boats are named Jill and Teresa after the ship's sponsor and First Sergeant Howard's wife. Our next stop is going to be our last one, back to the flight deck. That concludes our tour. Thank you so much for coming. And our commanding officer would like to share a few words before we say farewell.
I'm Commander Parker, Commanding Officer of USS Howard. I want to thank you for taking the time to visit us today, albeit virtually, and I hope you enjoyed your visit. We wanted to let you know that our sailors are continuing to work every day and get the job done. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for being here.